Hey guys, it's Zach. I'm going to talk about hemophilia for my genetics project, my younger brother behind the camera. If you can move forward to the next slide and we'll get started. So first, it's a genetics course, so hemophilia is a genetic disease. It is X-linked recessive, so please remember that it is predominantly seen in males. If you find a female that has hemophilia, it is very, very rare. It can only be passed down from the mother to a son. A father cannot pass it down to a son. Okay? It is to note there's two types that I'm going to talk about, A and B. That makes up most of hemophilia cases. There is acquired hemophilia in about 30% of cases, but I'm going to focus on the genetic ones. So Cameron, if you could move forward, please. Again, this is just a little chart, 4 times more likely to have hemophilia A versus hemophilia B, and then a little chart where it's common in the world. But Cameron, if you move forward, I don't have much time. Alright, so hemophilia, what does it look like? A person with hemophilia can bruise very, very easily from a minor bump. They just tap something and they'll have a bruise that will last for days. I've seen cases of dental extractions result in emergency room visits and the need for O-negative blood. Also, a relatively minor laceration that someone can just get stitched up could result in a fatal bleed out for someone with hemophilia because they lack everything they need to elicit proper clotting. So Cameron, if you can move forward for me. So we're going to start with type A hemophilia. The biggest thing to note is that is deficiency in factor VIII, and again is the much more common version. Factor VIII, there are 3 types, 1, 2, and 3, depending on how mild. The numbers are there for the percentage of the proper amount of functioning factor VIII in the blood. You can determine this with multiple different kinds of testing. Mostly they use a platelet count or a clotting factor test or a PTT. Hemophilia type A should not be confused with von Willebrand's disease. That is another type of clotting factor. They serve a similar function, they present similarly, but hemophilia is much worse. Cameron, if you can move forward for me. So molecular biology, there is an F8 gene on the X chromosome. I actually found a little picture of the locus here. Another thing to note is there are 2,500 different genetic mutations that have been discovered to cause some sort of hemophilia. It's not just a point mutation or a missense mutation. There are many different ones. They're still finding out more today according to the Hemophilia Foundation. Cameron, you can move forward, please. What does factor VIII even do? Supposedly it speeds up the rate of reaction to produce factor X, which has to do with the cascade here. It forms a complex with factor IXA and is activated by protein C and inactivated by thrombin. We haven't learned the whole cascade yet. I believe that'd be in cardiovascular and I believe Med4, but I put a little thing here that if any of my classmates want to see, they can kind of follow it along, and we kind of have enough biochem to do so. So Cameron, if you can move forward. Type A hemophilia, there are different kinds of drugs. Jivi is a recombinant factor VIII that you can give. There is common resistances to that, so it's not very easy to give. The best thing to do is probably get genetic counseling before you have children. Again, the mother is the most important person to test because typically it's given to males, and males can only get their X chromosome from mom. Cameron, if you can move forward for me. Type B is a deficiency in factor IX. It has a similar severity ratio, type 1, 2, and 3, as type A. I found the specific locus, X27.1.2, also known as Christmas factor, which I thought was interesting. Couldn't find out why, but I thought it'd be put in there. You can also diagnose this with similar tests. Here's the locus here. Most important, again, is the PTT when it comes to tests. So Cameron, if you can move forward. Again, the F9 gene for type B. The other thing is there's only 1,000 different mutations that's been determined to cause hemophilia B or deficiency in factor IX, whereas there was 2,500 in factor A, which some people believe is part of the reason why factor factor VIII type A hemophilia is much more common than factor IX deficiency of type B hemophilia. Again, still X-linked recessive, but something to note. Also, again, here's also the cascade. Cameron, if you can move forward. So what does factor IX do? It serves as a serine protease and is vitamin K dependent. We did learn about that in biochem just last week from Dr. Adow. The other thing is You can get genetic counseling. You should also test mom for that as well. Again, it shares a lot of similarities genetically with type A. Pre-pregnancy testing. Oh, also something, there's also recombinant factor 9 that you can issue to a patient. Again, this helps with clotting factors and the whole cascade, which I don't know the exact details of because I have not had cardiovasc yet, but I do know that is important because obviously people can get relatively large bruises or fatal injuries from such relatively minor injuries. Cameron, if you can move forward for me. So here's the final wrap up. Just remember that hemophilia A and B is both X-linked. A is much more common, but 4 out of 5 cases will be type A. There's typically recombinant therapy for treatment if need be, but before you have children, it's suggested that you get genetic counseling or testing, primarily for mom because mom carries 2 X's. Dad can only pass on an X to a daughter, but the daughter is likely to be saved from mom's X. Other than that, just know that this is something that is very common with the loci, and that if it's a woman, common in men, if it's a woman, it's about a 1 in a million chance. We did the similar math of that in Dr. O'Dowd's population genetics course. That's all I have to say about hemophilia. I hope you guys enjoy it. Thanks.